I've been watching anime for 22 years. Call me a weeb, call me an otaku, call me an anime fan, call me a nerd or a loser like the kids in high school used to do. Call me whatever you want to call me. But for the past 2+ decades, I have found a wonderful escape in anime, and I have just found some of the best, most wonderfully intricate and beautiful stories ever portrayed in the anime format. And today, I'm going to tell you why I hate the One Piece live action. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. You're watching the channel Dr. Applesauce. My name's Will. It's another beautiful day here in Texas. I hope you guys know that I love you, God loves you, that there is an awesome plan for your life. That's right. I've been a huge weeb for 22 years. Man, this goes all the way back to when I was 14 years old, and an old friend showed me this weird Japanese cartoon movie called Akira. And if I'm not mistaken, I have it right here. The one that I bought all those years ago. Look at this. Look at this. Boom. Akira in DVD, half-price bookstore. $10. Now, I bought this years after I watched Akira for the first time, but when I first started watching anime, you were barely able to find things on DVD, and that's what started my love of anime. I was shown Akira, and I was like, what in the world is going on in this story? It's absolutely amazing. I'm loving what they're able to do visually, the stories that they're able to tell, and that started me down a journey when I was 14 years old of watching anime. I watched Fruits Baskets, I watched Chobits, watched All My Goddess, Evangelion, started diving into Samurai X, and started learning what shonen anime was, then started jumping into Dragon Ball Z pretty quickly, and that's how I became a huge weeb at the age of 14. And you gotta understand, back when I started watching anime 22 years ago, there might be people watching this video that you might not even be 22 years old. You might be 25 years old. You might be 18 years old, and you don't remember the crazy times when we couldn't find any anime merch, anything like that, except for going to the weird Sanrio store in the mall that sometimes sold anime merch, and you could buy your Dragon Ball Z shirts there. And that's how I started. I would buy Dragon Ball Z shirts and wear them to school, and people would call me a nerd and a loser. And look at us now. We have celebrities and huge athletes that love anime. And the reason I bring all this context up is to show that I've been a huge fan of anime for a long time. And now we have the One Piece live action that's come out that is arguably a live action adaptation of one of, if not the most popular anime series of all time. And I was incredibly skeptical about this because we've seen so many live actions in the past. We saw a Cowboy Bebop live action that was an absolute disgrace to the fantastic anime that is Cowboy Bebop, which is my #1 favorite anime of all time, by the way. We've seen live action adaptation after live action adaptation that frankly have been not that great. So we have this One Piece one, and I'm like, man, I don't think I'm going to dig this. I'm not sure. And you got to understand, my history with One Piece is I have watched the first 30, 40 episodes or something like that, up through the Arlong Park parts in the One Piece anime. Ironically, I've watched the One Piece anime probably about 2 years ago, and I stopped watching, ironically, right where the One Piece live action finishes off on episode 8. How that happened, I'm not exactly sure, but I watched through the Arlong Park arc, and that's my history with One Piece, and I thought it was a good show, but to be honest with you guys, I was intimidated by the fact that there's 1,100 episodes. Now I have 3 kids. I can't sit around and watch anime all day like I used to when I was 17, 18, 19 years old on my days off. I maybe am lucky to get to squeeze in 2 or 3 episodes a day some days, and I just couldn't wrap my head around an 1,100 episode series. Well, the live action series came out and started hearing rumors about it. I'm like, that's weird. Started seeing trailers and was like, okay, this is interesting. And then it hit, and people were freaking raving about it. Absolutely raving about this show. And I'm about to break down why I hate the live action, guys. Why I hate the live action. People are raving about this show, so I sit down and I start to watch this with my wife. Mind you, preface, my wife doesn't watch anime. She watches anime in proximity when I'm watching stuff, but she doesn't really pay attention. She is not an anime fan. She's not a lover of anime. That's not her thing. She likes Hallmark movies and Jonas Brothers and Taylor Swift. That's this type of stuff she likes. I watched the first 2 episodes while she was there, went to watch the 3rd episode, and she's like, wait, don't watch this without me. I'm really enjoying this. So my wife watched the entire One Piece live action with me, and she absolutely enjoyed it. She loved it. And I think that's why we're seeing that this is such a huge success, is because it's appealing really, really nicely to people who aren't fans of anime. And it's also appealing really, really well to people who are fans of anime. I'll be honest with you guys, frankly, I was blown away. I haven't watched all of One Piece, but I've seen enough of it to be very, pretty familiar with the characters that we're running across in this 8-episode series pretty well. And I have to say, I am just so impressed with how they portrayed so many various things. One of the beautiful things about anime is the anime feel, the vibe of a show can be really over-the-top quirky. It can be really over-the-top serious. It can be really over-the-top scary, really over-the-top dramatic or exciting, and still work with the medium of animation. When you try and go to that over-the-top emotional quirkiness or dramatic or scary in a live action, it tends to come off feeling cheap and cheesy and just forced and weird. One thing that One Piece did is they took the quirkiness of the anime and translated it into live action flawlessly. It didn't feel weird. It actually felt like they did a great job. And I think a big part of that is because Oda was a big part of the live action. If you don't know who Oda is, he is the creator of One Piece, and he had a huge role in the production of the live action show. And I think that's a big part of that, because his vision was able to be bestowed upon the live action as he was the one that created it for the manga and the anime. I think that is such a key factor here, and I was honestly really surprised how well they were able to, portray Luffy's quirkiness in a live-action form. That honestly, the actor did a great job. They were able to portray Zoro in his very stoic, serious, loyal kind of persona very accurately. I felt like I was watching Zoro. I felt like I was watching the character of Zoro, not some guy playing Zoro. I felt like this guy was Zoro. I felt like they did Sanji very, very well. Really embodied Sanji's attitude. I feel like they did Nami incredibly well. I feel like they did Usopp. Amazing. Usopp, outside of the big schnoz missing, that guy is Usopp. And then we go and we look at some of the other weird characters that have weird prosthetic jaws and whiskers and weird hair and things of that nature that you would think would not translate to live action very well, but they did it flawlessly. And there was a few times where it's like, okay, that's a little quirky, that's a little strange, but understanding the context of the world of One Piece, they made it work. They made it work, and they made it not really seem too awkward. And the actors that they hired for most of the roles were fantastic. Great actors. I believe Oda said that the actor that got brought on for Luffy, he couldn't imagine anybody else ever playing Luffy. Talk about good acting chops. The guy that played Buggy the Clown, holy smokes. Probably the top-notch performance of the entire first 8 episodes was the performance for Buggy the Clown. That was insane. And so what I'm getting at, guys, is this is coming from the perspective of somebody that only watched the first handful of episodes of One Piece, and somebody that doesn't watch anime, being my wife, and being blown away after being incredibly skeptical about this. And I bring up that I've been a weeb for 22 years because I have seen a lot of anime. I have consumed a lot of anime content. I'm very critical of live actions. And this live action rendition was amazing. If you haven't watched it, you should watch it, regardless of if you're a fan of anime or not. This is a very well done story. They portray the adventures of Luffy and the building of the initial members of the Straw Hat crew beautifully. They do a great job of orchestrating the events that lead them to start to trust each other and bond them together for the adventure that's going to unfold in the future. On top of that, it's been incredibly well received. I think Season 2 is already confirmed. The script of Season 2 is already written, and they're in discussions with Netflix for up to 6 seasons total, with a hope of 12 seasons in the future. And it's been one of the most viewed shows on Netflix of all time. Obviously, other shows are beating it, like Stranger Things and Wednesday, and a few shows are beating it, but it has still been one of the most viewed shows of all time. And This is a segue that is bringing people into the world of anime, and for all of those reasons, I think it's beautifully done, and it's absolutely fantastic. Now, can we get into the minutia and be really skeptical about, hey, this wasn't as perfect as the anime was done, this wasn't done perfectly, this wasn't done perfectly? Obviously, we can, right? You can obviously pick apart things like that, but you got to understand they have to adapt certain things, and for what it is, stayed relatively true to the episodes that I've seen, and it stayed relatively true to the environment and the weird, crazy, quirky world of One Piece that Oda has built and portrayed it in a live action setting. And guys, I'm here to tell you, I hate the One Piece live action. I hate it. I can't stand it because now that I've watched it and fallen in love with Luffy and Nami and Sanji and Zoro and Usopp and the One Piece world, now that I've watched these 8 episodes, now I have to go watch an 1,100 episode anime series. Find the time to do it because I want to know what happens. I want to know what happens when they leave Arlong Park. I want to know what happens when they get the Grand Line. I see all of these leaks and episodes and stuff of Luffy hitting Gear 5, and I'm like, what the heck is a gear? There's 5 gears? What's Gear 1 look like? I find myself fighting Arlong, being like, is he going to go into Gear 1? What is even a gear? How does all these things happen? I see what I know, and I see where the show's going, and I am just fascinated, and I want to know this journey of how we get from here to there. I hate the One Piece live action because now I have to watch 1,000 more episodes of an anime, and I don't know where I'm going to figure it out. So bring on the gamer subs and the Red Bull, because I'm going to start diving into this anime and watching episodes as I edit videos, watching episodes as I do various other things. Thank goodness most of it is in English. That's why I hate the One Piece live action. This isn't a review. This is just a small synopsis of why I think it's fantastic. And I absolutely hate the live action because now I've got to go watch an 1,100 anime series, and I don't want to miss any of it. I might skip some filler, but I don't want to miss most of it. I want to see how the characters develop. I want to see how the anime develops. I want to see how the fight scenes develop. I want to learn how come Luffy's devil fruit is special compared to the other devil fruits. I want to learn about this world, and yeah, I might be 15 years behind. I decided to go into Dragon Ball Z and My Hero Academia and Blue Gender. Ever heard of Blue Gender? One of my favorite of all time. And Cowboy Bebop and Naruto and shows like that, and set One Piece to the side to my regret, and now it's time to catch up. So today I'm just here to say, from a 22-year-long weave, I hate the first ever incredibly successful live action adaptation so much that I love it because I have to go watch 1,000 more episodes of One Piece now to get caught up with everybody else. Let me know down in the comments below, my friends, if you enjoyed the One Piece live action. Did you hate it? Did you love it? Whatever it was, let me know. Let's just be nice to each other in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, do me a huge favor, my friends. Give it a thumbs up. It's absolutely free for you to do, and it helps the channel so much. And like I always say, my friends, find somebody to love and serve today. Be the change you want to see in the world. See you next time.